Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and today we're discussing the big question on everyone's lips, and that's what to do in that Fyfe. But as I say earlier in the week, it's why I wait till the teams come out, because there's a lot more things happening than perhaps we expected. I'll focus on Fyfe for this video, but I'll certainly have a bit of a weekend preview as I always do, but it's certainly a relevant one as Ruggles is out, Tommy Lee's gone down as well, and Lobie's out as well. A few other guys, few things, no Crouch named, etc. There's a few interesting things that we're going to have to deal with there. But initially, our main choice goes straight to what do we do with Fyfe. That's the main decision we're thinking about at the moment. Of course, it's been cleared that he has of course broken that leg again, which is extremely disappointing for him. Or he's fractured the bone just above where he had the plate, I believe. So extremely concerning, not just now, but for going forward for Nat Fyfe. He scored the 53 points. He was on his way to get another three-figure score, and a big one at that, more than likely. But off the back of that, he's dropped 34,000, comes down to 624k. So obviously we've got plenty of cash to work with there, but still, like I said, when Johannesson went down, it's good that he scored 91, still went up. We still lose a bit of money. 34k doesn't sound like much, but when you try and upgrade elsewhere, you may find yourself in coming weeks wishing you had an extra 34,000. So it is just one of those little nuances of SuperCoach that just depending when an injury happens, it can really hurt you, or the other way around. But the simple message is exactly that. Keep it simple. Don't overdo it. Don't overcomplicate things. We've got Fyfe, who is going to be a top 5 scorer for the year. So just find another one. Find a guy who's going to be in the top 5 scorers. Look at your premiums that you have. If you have Dangerfield, Ablett, etc., well, find someone else. And I've got a bit of a list for it. You'll be able to afford just about anyone. The only one you may not be able to is Paddy Dangerfield. But I'd think with the amount of cash being generated and downgrades, etc., not only this week but perhaps last week, you should probably have 20-odd thousand in the bank. Paddy Dangerfield's the obvious one. He's dominating at the Cats. He's looking fantastic. He's at 650,000, averaging 128.2. So he's the obvious choice. He'll probably be a top 3 scorer, you would have to think, because he's just absolutely tearing the comp to shreds, and got to be the Brownlow medal favourite at the moment. Of course, if you don't have Ablett, you'd of course look at him. Dan Hanbury or Luke Parker. I think a lot would have Parker, and there's no reason you shouldn't have Dan Hanbury alongside him as well. They both warrant selection within their own right. They're fantastic players. Hanbury's at 620,000. His average is 118, but he did have that game where I think he went off. I'm not sure whether it was a concussion or something, but he was on 100 midway through the third quarter. So he is averaging as good as anyone in the competition. And Parker, of course, we all know what he's doing. He's still relatively well priced considering his numbers that he's produced as a season as a whole. Joel Selwood shouldn't escape people's minds as well at 579,000. He's just hitting his straps now. Off the back of Dangerfield's dominance, he's not getting as much attention. He'll get enough, but he didn't have much pre-season. Now he's just really starting to find that match fitness, and he's looking great. He's managed to produce some good scores, but I think especially the weight that he's not going to have to carry on his shoulders that he has in the past, and has perhaps weighed him down because of the Geelong midfield just being so heavily reliant on him. He's got a bit more support in there, and I think we should see him back to his 115 plus average per year days, and he's certainly started that way, and now's a good time to pick him. Sam Mitchell just keeps on keeping on at 596, an average of 120. It's hard to say no, and he may offer you a slight point of difference, as would Callan Ward. I'm not as sold on Callan Ward as his numbers may suggest. I'd probably lean towards the Mitchell there if you're looking to go slightly different. Matty Pritis is reliable as ever. He's at 576,000, so a bit cheaper than some of those other options I've talked about if you want to squeeze out a little bit more coin. But as good as he is, he's probably not going to burst out and average 115 plus. He may push that mark extremely close, but unlike your Dangerfields, Hanbury's, Parkers, Selwood, who all raise the question of can they go in the 120s, I think Pritis will be your stock standard lock and load 110 to 115, which you can't complain about. But the man I would strongly suggest, and I think he is absolutely my number one pick, Mind you, all these guys certainly warrant selection, and you may just pick one of them if you don't have them already. But a man that I think is of great value at the moment and about to really get going is Scott Pendlebury. He's at 580,000. The experiment off the halfback flank didn't work. He had a few sore ribs and things. He's obviously over that now. The combination of that with Nathan Buckley obviously realising that while Pendles may rest off the halfback flank, we are a much better side with him in the middle. He attended a stack of centre bounces way up on the other matches that he played. It was a clear, I'm sure everyone watched the game, I know I did, it was a clear change in tactic that he went straight into the middle, and he's just so dominant. I mean, it's rare that a player can not only find the ball themselves, but he's so good that he brings others into the game, just has such an influence over the contest and his leadership around the stoppage. Just lock and load him. His average is 107.2, but he churned out 131 last week, and he went to sleep. I think he got a KFC bucket halfway through the second half. He didn't even care halfway through. He had 8 touches in the second half. He'd done his job. He had 23 in the first half. I didn't see what he scored in the first half, but it must have been around 90 to 100. So he's more than capable of doing exactly what he knows he can do. There are a few question marks. If you didn't pick him for those reasons early, congratulations, because exactly what has happened is probably what you planned in that initial stage where he gets trialled and it doesn't always work, and always the option that gets moved back, and it looks like he certainly will. Expect him to average 120 from here on out or around that mark. So they are my selections. Anyone you want to pick cream of the crop players, yeah, Dangerfields, Hannaberys, Parker, Selwood, Mitchell, Prittis, Gary Ablett, of course, he's not travelling great, but you'd still have to pick him. He's as cheap as we may find him in recent times. And of course, Scotty Pendlebury as well. I don't think I've missed anyone. They're all extremely good players, so definitely they're all ones you should consider. And just keep it simple. That's my main message when looking to trade out Fyfe. Don't get too confusing and go, oh gee, you know, instead of downgrading this bloke, I'll just put Fyfe down to a bloke who's around 450, 500,000, but I think he could go well. Just don't take a risk. You don't want to downgrade at all, as far as I'm concerned. Fyfe, you would have initially picked him to average 120 plus, be a captain option from week to week. You want to just fill that void with a bloke that you can rely on just as much. So I don't think at this stage we want to be upgrading our sides, and you don't want to weaken it. And look, if you're looking for a little bit of coin, you might opt for a Prittis or a Pendlebury, and it gets you 45, 50,000. That's about all as good as you could do, I'd say. I mean, I wouldn't really venture too far out, go searching for cash when all you should be searching for are solid points from week to week when a bloke like Fyfe is out. So that's my advice. I'll have another video for you guys tomorrow. I'm having a few technical difficulties at the moment. My laptop is currently dying. It's on its deathbed, so who knows what I'm going to do. I'm going to hopefully get this out by around 8:30 tonight. Hopefully it does. I've got no idea what I'm going to do, but hopefully it runs smoothly anyway. We'll see what we can do there. Unfortunately, it's sad to see Fyfe down and out. He's such a great player to watch and such a great player for our SuperCoach sides, but they're my options there. Give me some feedback, give the video a like, subscribe as always, stay tuned for the video tomorrow, and I'll chat to you guys then.